does not match with FLUTTERPAGE. Oh, wait, this might be crack. I can't be reading this. This is insane. You gave this to the kid? I'm not doing the math on that. Who's giving me the extra action? She just jumps. Don't do a flip, FLUTTERPAGE. All right, walk with me. I'm so tired. It's like 11:30 at night, but I've put this off long enough. We have to do the half patch for reverse 2.3. Is it 2.3? I just have the name. It's 2.3. It's 2.3. I didn't write it down, but it's 2.3. All right. Half patch is FLUTTERPAGE. We just have FLUTTERPAGE's trailer to watch because I'm not going to watch Extreme Talent because we're going to go over her kit actually in game because that tends to work out better. This is 10 days old. If you can hear it in my voice, it's kind of going away, but I am still getting over that like double weird cold thing I got. I got like 2 colds at once, technically. It wasn't fun. So FLUTTERPAGE. I did do Willow's character story, but I thought I was thinking it was 3 videos. I think I did it in 2. Was it 2? I was so sick when I did Willow's character story. I sounded so bad, but I did it and it was beautiful. So FLUTTERPAGE. We will do FLUTTERPAGE's character story, but today we're just going to take a look at her kit. I am going to struggle through talking about it, so I might be a little bit shorter with talking about it. I don't plan on pulling for FLUTTERPAGE, so we probably won't do any polls today. I already logged in to do my dailies, so I'm going to log in again, but there's that. But yeah, I know a lot of people really like FLUTTERPAGE, and I don't have anything against her. Like, I actually love her. She's my daughter. We will protect her under all circumstances. I just don't want to pull for her. Like, it's just, I just don't. I pulled quite a bit for Willow. She didn't come home, but I did pull quite a bit for her. But my thing with Willow is that I said this in the first patch video, I really like her as a character, but I also wasn't going to go insane, like kit-wise, if I didn't get her. So I'm just going to wait for her to hit standard. We have FLUTTERPAGE today, though. Soaring on the Wind, her character trailer. We're going to watch it really quickly. I probably won't linger a ton. We're going to watch her character trailer.
Seems to me
if it's not too loud.
To fly.
This is so cute. She's so cute.
You've only practiced.
So does,
times now
is this how they meet? She's just like trying to fly. And then Willow has to go, hey, you can't fly.
Mind yourself, Liberty.
Oh, I didn't realize these were auto-generated. Is her name Liberty? That does not match with FLUTTERPAGE. Because it's the same thing with Willow. Willow isn't her actual name. It was... Why do I want to call her Catherine?
Birds fly because they got wings. So, where do I get mine?
Oh.
Huh?
Who is this?
Dad?
Oh, it's her dad.
I told you not to use your arcane skill in public.
Oh. Her arcane skill is that she can fly. But she doesn't really have any control over it because she's a kid. Again, a child. I say this because I edited the super long last video for Uluru games.
Got this feeling that I'm
today.
supposed to fly.
Oh, baby.
Things would be so much easier at work, and I get more money.
Oh, she's a kid.
And if we had
child labor.
Maybe we'd live a better life.
Child labor is bad, but this does take place in like the 1920s or 1940s or something. So thematically and like chronologically, it makes sense.
All the things I want. If only I had a pair of wings.
Oh, the baby. Her design actually, I really like her design then, because her whole thing is that she wants to fly and she has this very flowy design. That's really good, like design work. Just both characters this patch, top tier. Because like, look at how her dress is like so flowy in the wind. And then it's the same thing. Oh,
Free.
She looks free coming from Willow. Like, because they did the same thing with the design for Willow, how she has like tree branches almost incorporated into her thing. Oh, beautiful. She's so adorable. Her character story is gonna make me cry as well, isn't it? I didn't cry as much with Willow because I was actively trying not to cry because I was so congested when I did Willow's character story. I was like, I can't cry or else we're gonna get worse. We can't cry. So I was actively trying not to cry. So I don't remember if I did or not. I probably had a fever or something while I was doing it. I don't remember having a fever, but I probably did. Anyways, I'm actually happy I watched that. I've been putting it off because if I have to open up a YouTube window, I'm gonna put it off because it's an extra step. But that was really cute. cute. I love FLUTTERPAGE. Like I said, I don't plan on pulling for her, but hey, maybe she'll have an insane kit and we'll throw some pulls her way. You never know. Reverse 1999 can be very surprising because we also have a new A rank, I believe. Is it A or 4-star? Listen, I played Genshin yesterday. I played Aether Gazer earlier today. I'm mixing up which game uses the star system and which games use the grade system, the letter system. I'm mixing it up. I am still sick, even if I want to say I'm not. I'm still getting over it. Moving on, let me open my game. My game did not want to let me click properly. Okay, as you can see, I've already done stuff today. My stamina is way down. Let me move my box back because I will forget. There we go, good as new. All right, 400 clear drops. I know I have some unilogs as well. And we're probably really close to something. Maybe? I'm not sure. I don't know yet. So I haven't gone to summons yet. This is my first time looking at summons. We have, don't look at my standard, the Book of Wise, FLUTTERPAGE, and it has 16 days left at the time of recording this video. I don't know when this is going up. But also running right now, the Yearning of the Water rerun banner with Mercuria and Cacania has maybe a day left by the time this video, honestly, it has a couple days left, which isn't, it looks like this coincides with the end of Mercuria's anecdote, which makes sense. That totally makes sense. Ripples on the Water is up. We have the Isolde rerun, which, ooh, you know, this has 5 hours left on it, and I forgot about it. We might pull this. We might actually pull this with the little bit of pulls I have. I'm not gonna lie. I might regret that because looks like, does pity roll over? Okay, we have roll over pity, then we can make that work. Okay, all right, okay. So first we have to take a look at Miss FLUTTERPAGE. I believe she will also go to standard at the end of the bit. Does it say on here? Does it say on here? I'm not sure. But I know Willow's going to standard either during or after 2.6. I don't think it's going to say here though, because it didn't say here last time. I'm just can I see it? Will it tell me that here, or do I have to go to the actual notices? Because we'll do that really quickly. Because it should say here. I can find the banners. I know it says it's somewhere. Okay, here we go. So FLUTTERPAGE, yes. FLUTTERPAGE and Brimley will both be added to the standard pool after the 2.6 update. So a couple patches down the road, probably sometime during the summer, I would assume. So if you can wait, I would say go for it. But let's go back to actually look at FLUTTERPAGE's kit now. I just want to take a quick look at that. She is going to standard as well as Brimley, so it's not crazy. Also, it's stars. It is stars. 6-star, 5-star. That's why I was confused. It's also 11:30 at night, so that's also why I was confused. Anyways, we're gonna look at FLUTTERPAGE more in depth, and then we're gonna take a very quick look at Brimley. We're gonna switch gears, do FLUTTERPAGE's trial, and then we'll decide if we want to pull. I probably will pull on something today, but I don't think it's gonna be FLUTTERPAGE. Probably will be either the Mercuria Cacania rerun or the Isolde rerun. It's probably gonna be Isolde because she only has 5 hours left. But let's take a quick look at FLUTTERPAGE's kit. She is a DPS and a support. Does have that extra action buff. I believe Willow might have had something similar, which makes sense because a lot of the times Reverse will do this thing where they make the new banner characters similar in one way or another. I do love her color coding because it's my color coding. She is a star character though. So if we take a look at all of her stuff, we're gonna go in the normal order. So we're gonna start with her ult. What does her ult do? A dream that never grows old. A self-channeling ult. Okay. Another patch with some self-channeling characters. Recovers all Eureka, converts all own incantations into Regards from the Sky, and casts them all if able. So Regards from the Sky then is a mass attack. So, oh wait, this might be cracked. So recovers all Eureka. I don't know what Eureka is. We need to figure that out. That's a stacking mechanic for sure, but I'm not entirely sure what it does. Converts all own incantations into a mass attack. So if you have 4 FLUTTERPAGE cards just sitting there and you play her ult, that's all those cards are going to be zooped up and turned into mass attack stacks, if I'm understanding this correctly. This deals 40% reality damage to all enemies and an additional 40% reality damage to the main target. So it's oh, FLUTTERPAGE, you might be one of the most cracked characters we've had in a while. I can't be reading this. This is insane. You gave this to the kid? You gave this insane skill to the kid? It's too late for this. It's too late at night for this. Okay, all right, that's not even her whole thing. Also, she enters the Dream That Never Grows Old status for 3 rounds, and she cannot gain Moxie during channeling. So Dream That Never Grows Old is that channel. At the start of the round, recovers all Eureka, converts all own incantations into Regards from the Sky. So I'm assuming it'll do that each round for 3 rounds? I don't know, we'll have to see that in practice. because I don't feel like it's getting a good explanation here, but it's doing something. Something's happening here. Cast them all if able. I'm not sure what if able specifically mean. At the end of the round, cast 1 regard from the sky. And when the channel status ends, grants Moxie plus 1, 2, or 3 to self based on the current gust force field. What is the gust force field? Also, you can't gain Moxie during channeling. I feel like this part of this description here, cannot gain Moxie during channeling, is just a repeat of what is in the specific description for A Dream That Never Grows Old. Sometimes that does happen where they over-explain certain parts. So I feel like that's just enters the dream that never grows old, can't get Moxie, and that lasts for 3 rounds. I'm curious if each round, though, it gets rid of those cards that pop up for a mass attack, because we have characters that channel all the time, and during that channeling, I don't think you can properly cast their skills or something like that. I don't know the specifics. FLUTTERPAGE seems like she's built different. Interesting. Her first incantation skill then is an attack. Both are attacks, actually, but the first one is called Knock Knock. This is also a mass attack. Deals at level 1, specifically, it deals 150% reality damage to 2 enemies and grants 2 stacks of Gust to self for 3 rounds. So this Gust is a positive status. And at the start of the round, FLUTTERPAGE gains a force field based on her Gust stacks and removes other Gust force fields. It stacks up to 50 times. That must be why she's labeled as a support, I'm assuming. Maybe? I don't know. Okay, so at level 2 then, you deal 225% reality damage, but everything else looks to be the same. All the stacks and numbers of everything are the same. You just get a higher damage buff. So looking at what her ult is and what it does, I don't think you need to stack Knock Knock. You could probably just use it for ult fodder. Just use it for channeling fodder. What are we gonna call this? What is it actually? Regards from the sky, just use it for regard fodder, quite frankly. Because it doesn't do anything crazy, it just has more damage. So like in a worst case scenario, you can stack this and have it go in guns blazing. But if you're in it for the long run, you probably could just keep these to throw into her ult, quite frankly. Because then everything is the same for level 3, but it deals 375% reality damage. It just is incremental damage. I think if you save it, you might just be able to throw it in like 1 stars. Because that's the thing with the ult, it's not like it doesn't take into account how much damage that card is doing. So I feel like her other card might also, like her other incantation might be exactly the same, where it's like very low stakes feeling for the sole purpose that you're supposed to feed it into her ult. And that's it. That's the whole point. She has a very straightforward kit. Yes, Cotton Kite, her other incantation, might be worse, actually. It's a single target attack, which I don't like single target attacks. We don't know how I feel about single target attacks. And at incantation 1, it deals 100% reality damage and grants continuous action level 1 to self for 1 round. So this continuous action just gives you an extra action point for 1 round. At incantation 2, it is still a single target attack. You still only get the 1 action point. And I think it's action point because it's extra action, I would assume. But at incantation 2, it's 150% reality damage. And then at incantation 3, it is 250% reality damage. Again, it seems like these aren't meant to entirely be stacked. If you stack them and you're using them in a worst case scenario, like so be it. But I think you're supposed to be in it for the long run with her. And I would assume it's like a burst damage situation. You get in, you get out. I would assume it's something like that. That's at least how I would think to play her in more of a, I guess, what's the right word? Like a log haul? I can't think of the right word because it's late, but something like that. I would save those to stack because there's no cutoff for how many times you can stack that, by the way. At least I don't think there is. We have to look at her insight levels though. So at insight 1, after any ally takes an action, FLUTTERPAGE gains 1 stack of Gust for 3 rounds. So that Gust again is going to be that force field. At the start of the round, FLUTTERPAGE gains a force field based on the stacks of Gust she has while removing other force fields. At 5 or more, you gain Paper Parade. So, oh god. So Paper Parade, we have a lot of reading to do here. There's so many words, my box is covering it. I'm not moving the box, but just walk with me, all right? So Paper Parade benefits all allies, and the added reality damage is considered dealt by FLUTTERPAGE herself. I was thinking about this earlier. Why is she a support? What does she support? This is why. At Insight 1, you start getting extra buffs with the shield. It's not technically a shield, it's a force field, but you start getting extra stuff. When an ally attacks then, you add an additional 15% reality damage to the attack, with an additional 15% reality damage to the main target. So again, you're doing damage to multiple targets. And when an ally performs an extra action, who did we just have that did extra action? Was it, am I thinking of Anjanala? Are you supposed to run them together? I don't know, we'll see in a second. But with that extra action, you consume 2 of FLUTTERPAGE's Eureka and add an additional 15% reality damage to the attack with an additional 50% reality damage to the main target. Yeah, it's buffing itself. At 15 or more stacks of Gust, you get Wave of Sheets. I'm assuming these, oh no, it does remove other force fields. So at 5 to like 14, you have Paper Parade. 15 to like 24, you have Wave of Sheets. And then at 25 and anything above that, up to 50, you get Adieu Mother Earth. So Wave of Sheets, circling back, also benefits all allies, added reality damage. The ally attack buff seems to be the same. It's that 15% reality damage to little guys and the main target, it seems like. But then when you do extra action, you consume 2 of FLUTTERPAGE's Eureka and add an additional 15 reality damage. Okay, that's the same, but for each stack of Gust FLUTTERPAGE has, you grant 2% more damage, as well as 2% more Genesis damage, specifically on top of that, I believe. There's a lot of numbers going on here, but basically everything looks to be the same, but you get extra Genesis damage with Wave of Sheets. So Mother Earth then, dear God, this is an essay, seems to be everything else that you get in Paper Parade and Wave of Sheets, including that Genesis damage buff, but as well, when an ally performs an extra action, the extra action is always a critical hit, and the action gains damage dealt and Genesis damage equal to the character's own crit rate times crit damage minus 100%. I'm not doing the math on that. Just know that her Insight 1 is like imperative, because there's a lot going on with her Insight 1 that makes her like a viable character. Insight 2 and 3 seem to be much more chill though, much more straightforward. Insight 2 is an attack plus 5% when you enter battle, and Insight 3 then adds +2 to the max amount of Eureka, and after attacking you can grant a Eureka +2 to self. I still don't know what your Eureka is, I'm gonna be honest. Also when entering battle, you grant +2 Moxie to FLUTTERPAGE and gain 10 stacks of Gust for 2 rounds. I would assume that's 20. So again, you're like already most of the way to Adieu Mother Earth. So like, good for you. Like, she's kind of insane when you think about it, right? Right? All this for the kid. Can't believe this. I do see where she's both a DPS and a support though. That's kind of insane. I can't wait to see what she does, quite frankly. I went into this planning to pull for anyone else, but I might end up pulling for FLUTTERPAGE. All right, let me move the box. So my model's gonna be a little bit goofy for a hot second. This is the pay to play section of the video. We'll do a short one for Brimley as well, but it's not as pay to play because Brimley is an easier to get character. Welcome to the pay to play section of the video. This is the section where we go over portraits. And because FLUTTERPAGE is a 6-star character, if you want these portraits, you either have to save a lot or spend real life money. Don't do this if you do not have the disposable income to do so. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Spend responsibly. Now let's go over some portraits. So everything we just went over is what you get with 1 copy of FLUTTERPAGE. That's P0, 1 copy, done deal. That is much more easily attainable to a free-to-play or low-spender player. You can get that just by saving. Heck, you could get that just by luck. Going forward, it gets a lot less luck-based and a lot more money-based. So spend responsibly. Let's get into it. At portrait level 1, so 2 copies of FLUTTERPAGE, it is a buff for Cotton Kite, which is one of her incantations. And at incantation rank 1, 2, or 3, reality damage is increased to 150, 225, or 375% respectively. And the duration of continuous action is increased to 2 rounds. I believe it was just for 1 round before. So now you'll get those points consecutively. At portrait level 2 is a buff that is going to be, I have to think, my brain stopped working. Portrait level 2, 3 copies of FLUTTERPAGE. It is a buff for I Can Fly, which is related to her insight levels and things. Essentially, insight 1. So her passive skill, is that what her passive is called? Yes, her passive is I Can Fly. So we're buffing with the portraits here. We're buffing her passive skill, 2 and 3, but we're only doing 2 right now. So Paper Parade, Wave of Sheets, and Adieu Mother Earth's added damage is increased to 18%. 18% when attacking into 18 out of 18? I don't even know. 18% when performing an extra action. What is it before? What does it say before that? I'm not moving, but it goes this far. You can see it with my box here anyway. Okay, so it's 15 and 15. So with P2, it would be an additional 18% reality damage to the attack with an additional 18% reality damage to the main target. I'm assuming the same stands for the ally performing an action, because it's all 15. I'm assuming it's the same for that. Oh, yes, it says when attacking into 18 or performing an extra action. Yes, so it's 18 all across the board. Level 3 then, portrait level 3, or 4 copies of FLUTTERPAGE, is another buff for her passive I Can Fly. When entering battle, the moxie granted to self is increased to 3. I believe it's 2 to start. Actually, no, we can open it here. Ha ha ha. Yeah, it's 2, which this portrait level 3 actually coincides with her insight level 3. So it seems like this level 3 portrait is more geared towards late game players, things like that, because you do need to have her at insight 3 specifically. But also the stacks of gust gained is increased to 20. So originally it's 10. So you'll be getting 40 across 2 rounds instead of 20 across 2 rounds. Interesting. That's literally that's all you need, because it caps out at 50. For each stack of Gust FLUTTERPAGE has, the damage dealt and Genesis damage granted by Wave of Sheets in Mother Earth are increased to 2.5%. So Wave of Sheets initially is a plus 2%. Same thing with Adieu Mother Earth, it's a plus 2%. So you get another 0.5% there. Portrait level 4 or 5 copies of FLUTTERPAGE is another buff for her passive, I Can Fly. So all 3 of those levels, Paper Parade, Wave of Sheets, and Mother Earth, that are mentioned in her Insight 1, all of those is added damage is increased to 23. So it's another buff similar to Portrait level 2, Portrait level 4. Seems like 2 and 4 are essentially means to an end, but it's means to an end, but plural because there's 2 of them. It's a means to an end. This is not the one you're going for portrait-wise, but it's getting you to a better thing. So you're not going to specifically, if you're pulling for extra copies of the character, you're not going to pull for portrait level 2. You're going to pull for portrait level 3, and 2 is just going to get you there. This isn't my favorite thing. A lot of gacha games do this. In fact, the Hoyoverse gacha games are very, very guilty of doing this. I haven't seen it as much in reverse recently, but they are there. And honestly, FLUTTERPAGE, her kit seemed a little bit insane. She needed like a debuff somewhere. And if having means to an end portrait levels is that debuff, so be it. Because this is not going to be every player. Not every player is going to be getting portraits. It is what it is. But portrait level 4, like we said, 5 copies. Basically, similarly to level 2, instead of increasing to 18% across the board, in terms of damage, it's 23% across the board. Portrait level 5 then, or 6 copies of FLUTTERPAGE, is a buff for A Dream That Never Grows Old, which is her ultimate. Yes. So then her self-channel Regards from the Sky, or no, Regards from the Sky is the mass attack that we were talking about earlier. The reality damage is increased to 60% across the board instead of 40. And then when A Dream That Never Grows Old's channel status ends, the moxie granted to self is 2, 3, or 4 respectively. So it's usually 1, 2, 3, so it's just increased by 1. But yeah, in terms of copies, honestly, truly, FLUTTERPAGE is a character that you could get by entirely free to play, so only grabbing 1 copy. If I was pulling portraits though, I always say which ones I think are the best. Obviously 3. I think you could, quite frankly, stop at 3 and call it a day. I don't think, 4 is a means to an end. 5, I don't think is that insane. Her ult is already kind of insane. Her ult getting a buff from portrait level 5 makes total sense in my brain because her ult is already cracked. So it's like, hey, if you're a whale, you can get an extra buff for that ult. Have fun. That makes sense in my brain. Do I love it? No, but it makes sense. And I think if you're doing portraits, the pay to play section, it makes sense that you would buff something like that in the 5th one. Don't love it, but it makes sense. Alternatively, I think you could stop at 3, quite frankly. 4, we've been over this. 2 is a means to an end. It is what it is. Level 1, I don't think I would just pull for a level 1, quite frankly, just looking at it. I don't think it's necessary because it just buffs one of her incantation skills. And it's the worst one. It's the single target. I feel very strongly about this. I don't think you need level 1. If you're gonna get portraits for FLUTTERPAGE, low spenders and whales only, I think, just go to level 3. I don't think level 1 is worth, I definitely don't think level 2 is worth it. Level 1, I don't think it's worth it enough. Level 3 and level 5 are the ones that are worth it. So this is low spenders and whales only on our portraits. Because hypothetically, a free-to-play player, if you saved enough, could get a portrait or 2. They're really lucky. But I don't think it's worth it. I don't think it's just save. If you don't, I don't think it's worth it. I think there's, especially right now with the characters that are being rerun right now at the time I'm recording this, I think it's more worth it to just get 1 copy of FLUTTERPAGE and get a rerun character, quite frankly. That's what I would do if I was thinking about playing portraits, that's what I would do. So that's the portrait report. We're gonna do another one for Brimley, don't worry about it. So everything's back to normal now. I do really quickly want to take a look at Brimley. So Brimley is a dedicated support. His ult is called Giddy Up Mate. It is mass damage. Deals 300% mental damage to all enemies. Also, he's mineral. I don't think I said that. After attacking, it inflicts reality defense minus 20%. So it does seem like, considering the fact that FLUTTERPAGE does reality damage, it seems like you're supposed to use Brimley with FLUTTERPAGE, quite frankly. But it does this for 3 rounds. then makes the unit with the riding double status cast a rank 1 version of their skill number 1. So it is technically an extra attack. So yeah, you're supposed to use these two characters together. So with riding double, you gain Brindley's attack times 5% attack. It's what it is when you're casting an extra thing. Yeah. All right, cool. First incantation. Keep up the pace. It's an attack. This is also a mass damage dealer. I always forget to say it. At incantation 1, it deals 120% mental damage to 2 enemies. After attacking, gain 1 stack of horsemanship. So what is horsemanship? It is a special stack, and upon reaching 3 stacks, casting Keep Up the Pace makes the unit with the riding double status perform an extra action. So that's how the extra action procs with that riding double from the ult, I think. But with 3 stacks of horsemanship, you spend all stacks to make the unit with riding double cast a rank 1 version of their skill number 2. This effect can trigger up to once per round. Okay, so at incantation level 2, or rank 2, as they're calling it rank here, you deal 180% mental damage to 2 enemies, and everything is essentially the same stack-wise. And then at rank 3, you deal 300% mental damage, and everything is the same stack-wise. Again, with this one, I don't necessarily think you need to level this in battle if you're like short-staffed. I think as long as you have this to proc that skill, essentially, I think you're fine. You can cast it at 1. I think you'll be fine. Second skill is a buff across the board called Hop On. At rank 1, it is a 1-target buff. It grants the riding double status to the target for 2 rounds. Only 1 riding double status can exist on the field at a time. At rank 2, I believe it's the same, though there's more text in the fun little note. Oh no, there is something different here. So at rank 2, it also grants the riding double status to the target for 2 rounds and 1 stack of horsemanship to self. Okay. So horsemanship is what stacks on Brimley. Once you have 3 stacks of horsemanship on Brimley, it procs the ally with the riding double status to perform an extra action based on, I believe, a stacking mechanic from the other skill. But at rank 3, it grants 2 stacks of horsemanship to Brimley. So this is, if you are focused on stacking something, stack Hop On. That's what you want to stack. 2 or 3s only, like that's what needs to be stacked, quite frankly. Basically, Brimley seems like a character that you will get just by virtue of pulling for FLUTTERPAGE, that you need to, it's like an easy fail-safe for FLUTTERPAGE to get that extra action procking. You kind of need to run them together unless you have another character that can do that, but it's like a fail-safe, like, hey, you pulled FLUTTERPAGE, you want to run this extra action comp, here's Brimley, figure it out. Like, that's essentially what you're asking for. If we go to our insight levels, and also I've cut it out of this video, but I have called it incantations instead of insight, both characters now. I don't know either. It's probably because it's midnight. Insight 1, yeah? So with Insight 1 on Brimley, when you cast Hop On, you dispel an additional 2 random types of stats down, negative status, or control statuses from the target. So it's essentially a debuff. Insight 1 is a debuff with Hop On. Again, Hop On is the one you want to stack, I think. Yes, Hop On is the one you want to stack. Focus on Hop On, the buff, instead of the attack, I think. But still focus on the attack, because the attack, what does the attack do? Yeah, this stacks the horsemanship, so you still need the attack. But the amount of stacks you have on horsemanship doesn't change across the rank of the incantation, so that doesn't matter. If you can just do the 1 stars, like, it doesn't matter. If you're in a pickle, you don't need to stack it. Insight 2 for Brimley, then, is a damage dealt buff, plus 8% when the caster enters battle. So, again, the means to an end buff, if you will. And then at Insight 3, after another ally performs an extra action, grant 1 stack of horsemanship to Brimley, and this can trigger up to once per round. So, and again, it seems like any chance to get those horsemanship stacks is what you want to go for. Whenever the unit with the riding double status takes 3 actions, Brimley gets Moxie +1 and triggers again up to once per round. So just some fun stuff there. But I do see where the support, the dispeller, and the extra action tags do come in. We're gonna very quickly go over the pay to play section with my model being in the wrong position because I don't want to move it. So again, same thing goes. It is going to be easier to get copies of Brimley as opposed to FLUTTERPAGE, but I'm hoping that we can kind of keep things in the earlier half of the portraits because if they do something really cracked at the end, it's gonna suck. Anyways, level 1 is a buff for Keep Up the Pace. That is the attack incantation. And at rank 1, 2, or 3, mental damage is increased to 140%, 210%, and 350. So just damage buffs. Again, I don't think that's necessary. This is a means to an end portrait. This will be 2 copies of Brimley. I don't think it's totally necessary. Portrait level 2 is a buff for Giddy Up Mate. the effect will change to dealing 350% mental damage. So that's the buff. So instead of 300% mental damage, it's 350. They worded it kind of weird, because just say you get an extra 50% mental damage, because that's what it does. Anyways, it seems like a means to an end. Level 3, so 4 copies of Brimley, is a buff for Hat First into action. That is going to be a buff for Brimley's passive skill. When casting Hop On, so that's the buff incantation, the additional types of statuses, negative statuses, we're just gonna rope them all together, dispelled are increased to 3. So that is coinciding with Insight 3. So again, that's a more of a late game buff. If you're an early game player, you don't really need to go for those copies. Otherwise, I would say Portrait 3 could be nice, but it only increases it to 3. So, I mean, I feel like this is the sort of buff where I'd have to see it in practice and like really get a feel for using the character, how I like to use them. Do I feel like I need a third debuff Dispeller? And if I don't, you don't pull for it. But that's the sort of thing when it's like also a condensed patch. We are on a condensed patch schedule. You're not going to figure that out this patch. You're not going to figure out if you want specifically level 3 Portrait Brimley right now. Quite frankly, just looking at these, I don't think any of them are like to die for. They'll be great if you get them accidentally while pulling for multiple copies of FLUTTERPAGE. But otherwise, like I wouldn't go on my way to get Portrait 5 Brimley right now, you know? Like just wait until he's standard. I'm getting ahead of myself though. Level 4 Portrait, so 5 copies of Brimley is a buff for Giddy Up Mate. That is going to, again, be the attack incantation, the mental damage. Yeah, see, they worded it normally here. Mental damage is increased to 400%. I don't know why they worded it differently in 2 different spots. That's a very niche gripe to have, but it is a gripe I have. Anyways, Portrait level 5, 6 copies of Brimley is another buff for Hop On. Oh, no, that's the first buff for Hop On. Yeah, of course they would do that at level 5. That's the one you want to be paying attention to. The bonus attack for riding doubles multipliers increased to 8% from 5%. But even that, I don't think is crazy. It's probably nice to have, but I don't think it's insane. I don't think it's like, what, 3% more? Like, I don't think it's crazy. At the end of the day, I don't think I would go out of my way to get extra copies of Brimley. It is just going to be pulling copies of Brimley while trying to pull for FLUTTERPAGE, but it seems like they're going to work very, very well together. So that's not the end of the world. Like, if you're pulling for FLUTTERPAGE, you're pulling for Brimley and FLUTTERPAGE. They are a package deal at this point. Anyways, we have to do the survey for Miss FLUTTERPAGE. So we go Night Escapades on Cross Street. We're going to really quickly do her survey and see her in action. I'm gonna have to move the box again. I didn't think this through. Interesting team comp here. So we have Jay, our DPS shielder. I have Jay, as you can see here. So I actually am totally okay with Jay. Wait, Jay does follow-up attack. Oh my God, I didn't think about that. He does. Oh my God, you're so right. Okay, interesting. We also have 37 who also does, 37 also does follow-ups, yeah. And then last but not least, with FLUTTERPAGE, we have Jionyangzi. So doesn't really seem like any specific element, but it's characters that do follow-up attacks. Yeah, extra actions or follow-up attacks. Yeah, it seems like they're using the same term for both, because I know Jay does extra action follow-up attacks. I even call it things interchangeably, so that makes total sense. All right, in we go. So we're going to do this how I usually do this, where we focus on FLUTTERPAGE's stuff first, just so we can see it in action, and we'll go from there. I think we can run it. So we'll do the cotton kite, that's what it's called, as well as knock knock. And then I'm just gonna start channeling and debuffing with everyone else. It doesn't matter fully, it's a trial. So cotton kite is the single target, and then knock knock is gonna be the multi-target. Okay, yeah, all right. And double speed, the other characters don't care as much. I care about these characters, obviously, but not right now, not right now. So what I'm wanting to do now is just kind of build things up and save as many of FLUTTERPAGE's things as possible. Oh, we have an extra action. Who's giving me the extra action? Is it FLUTTERPAGE? Is that what extra action means? It's like actually an extra action. I just thought it was random. Shows what I know. Shows what I know about this game I play all the time. This team kind of goes crazy though. All right, we already got our FLUTTERPAGE ult. Thank God we can try this out. So we have 3 FLUTTERPAGE cards on the field. So Jay's just going. That's what I'm talking about, where he just keeps going. So I'm going to run everything that isn't FLUTTERPAGE, and then we're gonna do her ult and see what happens. There's 3 FLUTTERPAGE cards on the thing. I'm gonna double speed this until we get to the ult, because the ult is important to me. So we're gonna let Jay do heat treating, and then I'm gonna turn that double speed off. All right, let me see the ult. I wanna see what happens. She just jumps. Don't do a flip, FLUTTERPAGE. So this is really intricate. So that's 2. If it goes a third, that's the amount of cards I had. So she just keeps going based on the amount of card. Oh, nope, there's a fourth. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, FLUTTERPAGE is insane. And it ate my cards. It ate my cards. Okay, that makes sense. This makes sense. FLUTTERPAGE is insane, and I have been convinced to pull for her. I have. And look, she just kind of floats there. That's adorable. She's adorable. All right, we are just going to throw things down in order now. We also lost that extra action, so I see where the extra action specifically is coming up. All right, no, she seems like she works really well with this team, but I would assume she can work really well with other teams as well. Obviously, they're running her with Brimley. You can use Brimley with her, I'm almost positive, because they literally are, it seems like they're built to work together. But like, I'm probably gonna run her with Jay just because they're running her with Jay here, but I'm curious to see what else she can do. Definitely curious to see what else she can do with other characters. But she's so cute. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I've been convinced. I've been convinced. I do think FLUTTERPAGE's kit is like 10 times better than Willow's kit. I'm gonna be so real. Hopefully this doesn't throw me into anything. Okay, cool. This is going to be her character story though, that we will do eventually. I don't want to do it in this video because it's been almost an hour. There is how many stages? 8 stages in Night Escapades. I don't know if we're gonna have a mini game in this character story event because we did not have one with Willow, but it made sense for Willow because the tone was so like dark. I think if we had like random mini games popping up, it would like not have made sense. Like it made sense for Tuesday's character story, despite it also being quite dark, as well as for Argus's to a certain extent. It made sense to have mini games in their character stories for the sole purpose that those characters felt like their stories felt more like horror based. Even like Argus felt like kind of like existential horror-y, Western existential horror-y, something like that. So it made sense. The minigames made sense. It was like spooky. It didn't make sense with the tone of Willow's character story. So I don't know if we'll have it for FLUTTERPAGE, but we'll see. We will see in due time. All right, though, for now, I can do a couple of summons, and it is gonna be for FLUTTERPAGE. It's like 50 minutes later, and I've been proven wrong. I don't think I can do a whole temple. I definitely can't. So we'll just do some singles. I think I'm like pretty early on pity-wise, so I'm not really expecting anything crazy, but we'll see. It's funny because all the 3 stars I'm getting, Alien Tea, Darly Collector, are mentioned in the Uluru Games Revival arc. And I like I said, I finished editing that event today. So I'm just like, hey guys, I was just thinking about you earlier. Hey, who's this? TTT as well. Yep. All right, this is gonna be our last one. And boop, 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 boop. White gold. Pioneer. Pioneer's new. All right, do we got anything in the bank? We do not. All right, I probably will keep pulling for FLUTTERPAGE because her kit seems kind of insane and I can use her with Jay and I kind of want to do that. We'll see. Tenant, you're beautiful. Okay, let us end on this beautiful FLUTTERPAGE art. We did not get FLUTTERPAGE to come home, but I think with FLUTTERPAGE, because I wasn't super bent up on getting her, I feel like I need good star DPSs though, so that could actually be a good thing. I wasn't super, like, I wasn't gonna pull for her. I wasn't gonna pull for her at the beginning of this video, but then I did. So I feel like I'll keep pulling with what I have during this patch and then I'll regret it in 2.4. But I'll probably keep pulling. If I don't get her, I'm not gonna go crazy because she is gonna go to standard. But I think she might be better than Willow. And I really liked Willow. Because even Willow's ult was kind of like it was, I even said it was not the best ult I've ever seen, but it's pretty nonetheless and I like it. FLUTTERPAGE's was insane. Like they really put so much into FLUTTERPAGE. Anything for the child. All right, that's gonna be it. It's 12:20 a.m. I have work in the morning. I'm gonna regret this. That is it for this video. If you like this video, make sure to give me a like down below, as well as subscribe for more and click the little notification bell to be notified when I upload new ones. As always, I hope everyone Hatter is having a super lovely day wherever you are in the world, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye guys.